All right. So I think that we can get started here. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Tonight, I'm Charlotte, and I will be your host talking about the Everly Townhomes development out in Edmonton. We'll be going through a presentation for you tonight, kind of giving you the ins and outs on this project and preparing you for what's to come with this development. So if you have any questions, just save it for the end of the presentation. We'll cover everything then. And just some housekeeping, I'd like everybody to keep in mind, everything that you're going to see in this presentation is subject to availability of this development. Prices are also subject to GST, and investors are not eligible for a GST rebate. So just keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. I'm joined by Jason Cameron, our sales representative on the Peggy Hill team, and he'll actually be running you through this presentation tonight. Jason, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, like Charlotte said, I'm Jason Cameron with the Peggy Hill team. I am excited to bring you this opportunity. I was out in Edmonton last week to have a look at the site. There's four or five blocks under construction already. The site is well on its way. It's an amazing site. It's built up in an area that is, family friendly. There's a lot of great amenities close by. So I'm excited to share this with you.
Awesome. So we will jump into the presentation now. If you have any questions, please just direct them to the event moderator and we will cover all of those off at the end.
Thanks so much for joining us to learn more about the Everly Townhomes in Edmonton, Alberta. This is a great project, like I said, that we're selling exclusively through the Peggy Hill team, courtesy of Brookfield Residential. So before getting into the details about the project, I want to speak to you about investing in real estate in general and what's happening in the Edmonton market. So here are some things to consider when investing in new real estate. First, we have capital, determining how much cash is needed for the investment. Next, we have leverage, trying to use less capital for higher returns. In this case, as an end user, putting down 10%, and as an investor, 20%. Cash flow, assessing monthly profitability. Rent and growth, examining the local economy, whether or not there's job opportunities, the rules, rents and vacancies. Next, we have appreciation, considering long-term property values and how much appreciation you're getting year after year. Mortgage paydown, understanding loan reduction from tenants paying your rent. Developers, looking in and checking the reputation and history of the developer of the project. Investment goals, making sure that your investment goals align with your retirement goals and that you're helping to build generational wealth. So we'll go over some of these items in a lot more detail in the upcoming slides, but I wanted to highlight a few things about Edmonton. So first and foremost, the diverse economy, the stability from multiple sectors, including gas and oil. There's a lot of construction going on in Edmonton right now as well. The population growth, high levels of immigration, as well as interprovincial migration to the area. The affordable entry prices, very accessible pricing in Edmonton right now. Rental income, cash flow positive real estate investments. This is what investors are looking for. You're very close out in Edmonton. There are some that do cash flow. So appreciation, easy and fast eviction processes, and no rent increase guidelines, which is important. Stable market. There's a low entry point for buyers, making it resilient for long-term investments. So let's dive into population growth in Alberta, something that obviously drives up home prices and rents. Immigration and interprovincial migration drive the need for real estate, and Alberta has benefited from high levels of both lately. Alberta recorded the second highest first quarter growth rate among all provinces, adding 56,600 residents between the beginning of January and the end of March 2023. Beyond population growth being driven by immigration and interprovincial migration, Alberta has the highest natural growth rate of any province, the youngest average age, as well as the lowest proportion of people aged 65 and over. You can see on the far right side of this graph that there's a lot of momentum for continued growth. So So this image illustrates where people are moving from when arriving in Alberta. Beyond the large number of people immigrating to the province from overseas by a large margin for the fifth quarter in a row, Alberta posted the largest net interprovincial gain of all provinces and territories in the first quarter, 15,786 people. Alberta's average annual population growth rate was 4.5% from April 2022 to April 2023. So now that we know Alberta is growing in population, let's chat about capital appreciation and market forecasts. From 2021 to 2022, Edmonton saw a year-over-year increase in average residential sale prices, and RE/MAX broker owners and their affiliates estimated that this price appreciation is expected to continue in Edmonton at a rate of 3% in 2023. A primary element enhancing Edmonton's allure is its underpriced real estate. As of August, the average price of a detached home in Edmonton stood at a tempting $398,000, considerably lower than Calgary's, which stood at $570,000. Excuse me. This makes Edmonton an enticing option for individuals considering relocation to Alberta. Moreover, the growing demand for oil creates additional job opportunities, boosting the market. Edmonton's condo sector also shows promising signs of appreciation as vacancy rates drop and rents increase. While projections were for Edmonton's property values to increase by around 3% year over year, the most recent stats from the Canadian Real Estate Association show that townhome prices in Edmonton are up 2.3% so far this year. With interest rates being as high as they are, a lot of families are looking for affordable options, and townhomes meet that need. Here's a good answer to a question some of you might have. Why are so many people moving to Alberta? The answer is simple. They're getting a better quality of life with more disposable income. RBC completed a study in Q1 of this year showing that Edmontonians spend only 34% of their household income on housing costs. This is almost 10% lower than in Calgary. Also, our poor fellow Canucks in Vancouver are spending a whopping 96% of what they make on housing. And our friends down just south of us in Toronto here are spending 79%. As mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, it's important to consider whether or not a market is appreciating when you're considering buying an investment property or buying a new home for yourself. While Edmonton hasn't seen the dramatic price growth of markets like Vancouver and Toronto, prices have still tripled since the year 2000. Although forecasts show that prices in Edmonton will likely appreciate by around 3% this year, none of us have a crystal ball, and it is a market that has remained quite flat for a while. I think what we're about to see is Calgary's values coming down and Edmonton's going up. I could be wrong. None of us have a crystal ball. Edmonton is incredibly affordable in comparison to other markets, and with interest rates having gone up as high as they have, affordability is more important now than ever. And the markets that are attainable for first-time buyers are the ones I'm confident investing in, both short and long term. Let's talk cash flow. Something that's pretty much impossible to achieve these days in popular investor markets like Toronto, Barrie, or Hamilton. Edmonton is a great location for investors with low average mortgage payments in comparison to average rents, allowing for cash flow positive investing. You can see here, Edmonton has an average rent of $1,364 with a mortgage payment average of around $918. So increasing rent in Edmonton. This chart shows the rate of rent increases in Edmonton. If you're considering purchasing a property in Edmonton as a rental, vacancy and rental rates are important. As you can see, Edmonton has been experiencing rapid rent appreciation. The cost of renting a home in Edmonton is expected to continue to creep up as the city hits its lowest vacancy rate in more than a decade. A new CMHC report shows that as of last fall, the vacancy rate dropped to 4.3% from 7.3%. Beyond immigration and interprovincial migration, increasing the demand for housing in Alberta, increasing mortgage rates have caused some would-be buyers to give up on their dream of home ownership and created a very tight rental market. As of September 2023, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Edmonton went up by 19% year over year. If you're thinking about becoming a landlord or expanding your portfolio into the Alberta market, it's definitely worth learning about the differences between Ontario and Alberta when it comes to the process of evicting tenants. If any of you have had a problem tenant in Ontario, you're familiar with the pain of waiting 8 or more months for a hearing. That's not how things work in Alberta. If you have a non-paying tenant, there's still a process that involves a hearing, but the timelines are significantly shorter in Alberta. Hearings are generally booked in between 10 days to 7 weeks, and a non-paying tenant has only 14 days to vacate the property. Beyond the faster eviction process, a lot of Ontario investors are cash flow negative thanks to mortgage rates these days, and there's nothing they can do about it beyond increasing the rent by 2.5%. In contrast, in Alberta, there are no rent increase guidelines. Alberta landlords can increase the rent to offset their expenses as needed, as long as it's not in the middle of a lease term. So now that we walked you through why to buy or invest in Edmonton, we want to tell you about an incredible opportunity. Like I said, that it's exclusively available to the Peggy Hill team in Edmonton. The Everly Townhomes is an incredible new development being built by one of Canada's largest developers, Brookfield Residential. Believe it or not, you can buy in this development for as little as $183,000 with only 10% down. There are a variety of floor plans from 1 to 3 bedrooms, all really thoughtfully designed and laid out with no wasted space. You can actually buy a 3-bed, 3-bath home in a great community for less than $400,000. So we have to touch on Brookfield, as it's incredibly important to vet the builder or developer if you're considering purchasing a new or pre-construction home or condo. Brookfield has been in the development game for over 60 years, and they've built over 30,000 homes. They've received several awards over the years, including Green Builder of the Year, Community of the Year, and Builder of the Year. Brookfield has an excellent reputation in the industry throughout North America. Let's talk prices. Here's the Everly price list. Like I mentioned, here's the 1-bedroom starting at $183,000. 2-bedroom units starting at $312,000, and you can find 3 bedrooms starting at $338,000. Please note that you do pay GST on top of the price on new construction in Alberta. However, end users qualify for a rebate of up to $6,300. This is a quick shot of the site map showing which models are available in each of the blocks. Blocks are being released kind of monthly as we go on. I can tell you a little bit more about that afterwards, which blocks are available and which ones are coming available next. I want to show you a couple of the floor plans and walk you through the financials for a couple of the units. Here's the smallest available condo. It's a 500 square foot, 1-bedroom condo priced at $183,000. If you're contemplating buying one as an investor, we put together some financial forecasts for you. To keep things simple, we've used a 5.79% interest rate, 20% down, and a 25-year amortization to come up with these forecasts. We've estimated the monthly rent for this 1-bedroom suite to be around $1,400. Without factoring in the cost of a property management, which goes for around 10% per month, you're looking at almost $200 per month in positive cash flow. Annual mortgage pay down of around $2,700 per year, and we set annual price appreciation of around 3%, which means that the condo will go up in value approximately $5,600 over the next year. That's a 21% return on your investment. So this unit is especially appealing to me because of the amount of money you have to come up with to purchase. It is quite low, as well as the monthly carrying costs. If you're thinking of buying this for yourself, you'd need to put 10% down, which is only $18,300. As an investor, putting down 20%, you'd need $36,600. And in these scenarios, the total monthly carrying costs, including maintenance fees, property taxes, and heat, amount to between $1,185 and $1,331, depending on how much money you're putting down. Lastly, let's check out a 3-bed, 3-bath unit to see how it compares. This floor plan, called Holiday, has a garage and a great flex space on the lower level, which would be a great office, home gym, or a playroom. Has an option to make the 2nd bedroom a bit larger by turning the 3rd bedroom into a den, should you choose that modification. The return for investing in a 3-bedroom versus the 1-bedroom model is quite similar. This one is $353,900, and between projected cash flow, capital appreciation, principal paydown, you're looking at banking almost $10,000 in year 1. So the Orchards at Everly is an established family community. There are amazing amenities that already exist, including a clubhouse where you can borrow tools or host events. There are 2 outdoor skating rinks, tobogganing hill, splash pad, basketball and tennis courts. The list goes on and on. Clubhouse is also home to Precious Sprouts Childcare Center for those who need daycare. The amenities are amazing, yet the maintenance fees are low. If you can swing it, I'd recommend purchasing a 3-bedroom unit like this one that will cater to young families. If you're to buy the holiday model, you'd need $35,390 to put 10% down, resulting in monthly mortgage payments of about $2,700. And if you're an investor putting 20% down, you need to come up with $71,000, and your monthly mortgage payments would be around $2,400. Thank you so much for joining us. Please reach out if you have any questions. I know we're going to do a Q&A right now. If you want to schedule a one-on-one meeting to discuss whether or not purchasing in this project is right for you, I can be reached jason@peggyhill.com, or my cell number is on the screen for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jason. That was awesome. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Anybody who joined late, I just wanted to reiterate some information for you. So everything that you just saw in that presentation that Jason gave us is subject to availability, and prices are subject to GST. The GST rebate that Jason mentioned is not eligible to investors. So I just wanted to mention that so that everybody was on the same page who may have missed that disclaimer at the beginning. So we do have a couple questions here that we received from some of our guests. So Jason, hopefully you can answer a couple of these for me. The first one I have here is, what are the closing dates on these? So when are you thinking that these are going to be ready to move in?
So different blocks have been released. We have block 6, they're looking closer to the end of November for possession dates. Block 5, mid-December. Block 14, mid to late January. Block 4 in February, and block 3 in March. The rest of the blocks will be released kind of as we go from there.
So much quicker than a lot of the developments that we're seeing in Ontario right now.
Yeah, I was out there last week. There's 4 of the buildings have construction has started already. One of the units, one of the blocks, basically is ready to go. Like I said, we're probably 2 weeks out from closing on those. Yeah, it's just a great development.
Okay, great. I have 2 more questions here, but if anybody else has any questions that they think should be addressed, please feel free to mention them to our event moderator. The next question that I have is, what are the standard finishes that we're looking at in these units?
So we have a standard specification sheet that I can send out to everybody, but some of the highlights are ceiling heights, main level living, including the kitchen, are 9 feet. Bedroom levels are 8 feet. You have a vinyl exterior window, So vinyl exterior windows, triple glazed, 30-year shingles on the roof, asphalt shingle roof, soft closed cabinet doors in the kitchen. They come with an appliance package, and if you purchase one of the packages that's not yet been completed, you can get to pick your own finishes, your own color palettes for the paint and stuff like that.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, we can send that out with a copy of this recording to everybody attending, just so that they can get a better idea of what you're looking at in each of the units. And then the last question that I have here is just around, like, is the area that these are in developed? Are there a lot of amenities nearby? I know you mentioned some of them like directly in the neighborhood, but what are you looking at around the area?
Yeah, so like I said, I was out there last week. They have directly across the road, they have, it's a developed area. So some of the other communities in the area, like there's an area called Summerside, there's an area called Walker's Lake. They've all been developed already. So there's basically a Walmart Supercenter 5 minutes away, Winners, what else? McDonald's, Tim Hortons 5 minutes away. Across the road, you have a Starbucks, a Papa John's, Shoppers Drug Mart. There's a dentist's office. About 5 minutes west of the development is a large medical center. 10 minutes away is a Costco and casino and raceway. 25 minutes away is the Rogers Center, downtown Edmonton, where the Oilers play. 30 minutes away is the West Edmonton Mall. So everything's very close by. And like I said, the area is well developed.
Awesome. That's great. So could be great for renters, could be great for people buying it for themselves.
Yeah, it would appeal to both.
Awesome. Okay, great. It doesn't look like we have any other questions here, so we will sign off now. Thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate your time. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email jason@peggyhill.com. And yeah, thank you again for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.